Hello. How is everybody? We're gonna at least do some sub-assemblies today. I'm still feeling crappy, but I gotta do something or else nothing will get done. So we're working on the Polar Lights new version of the original series Galileo shuttle with the interior kit. It's the same kit as the version that came without it. The version I got is the one without an interior, but they made a retrofit kit that'll fit into it. They sold separately, and they also sell the kit now with the interior. As far as I know right now, no lights unless I change my mind along the way, which might happen, but probably not. So, we're off today, obviously, and we'll be off again Sunday and Monday. The crew figures are decent, if a little basic. You can tell who they are, though. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up the faces at all because of the glare. Okay, there we go. And autofocus, you going to be good? Probably not. Yeah, I didn't think so. But looks like we got Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, Sulu, and Chekhov. And Uhura. Let's see, do they have... No, they don't have the little device in their ear. I'm getting this one out of the way first because they packaged her separately from the rest of the sprue. Probably because essentially all the men's bodies can be different. Or they're all the same, but hers is obviously different. What are you guys' plans for the weekend? Let's see what this hand does. Okay. And I'll do my best to bring these characters to life. The figures are a bit small. They're 32nd scale. Okay. Gonna have to build at least one chair. And we'll build them all, get the sub-assemblies out of the way for them. And the kit was engineered so you could leave the roof loose. I'd have to look back through the instructions again to see if they make it so you could open the side door as well. Just a little bit of flash on the very edges of all these chairs. Be neat to find one of these. From what I understand, there were like some kind of mass-produced plastic chair back in the day, kind of like the chairs we had in school with the 3 slits on the back. But that same kind of just mass-produced thing, and they dressed them up differently for the show. The Model Club meeting went okay last night. I missed the last meeting due to some really bad parking issues there with the apartments that they decided to build near the library, and people are taking up library parking. But I took the Hornies, and while it's not finished for everything I want to do to it, it is finished where it's displayable, right? And we had an impromptu sci-fi model contest for one of our members who had passed away recently. And not thinking anything of it, I just entered the Hornies just to fill out the ranks and stuff. I didn't know about the contest till last night. Or I knew it was coming, I just didn't know it was last night. So I entered it and it got first place, so that was nice. It was up against some pretty good competition. MD scale models entered a abandoned AT-AT Walker. Covered in moss, kind of like in a mountain ravine kind of thing. And there was a Venator, Star Destroyer, ATST, Y-Wing, Space Ghost, little yellow spaceship by Fantastic Plastic. One of the old Mooncrawler, you know, George Barris style car kits. Some pretty fun stuff. I'll probably get back on the Hornies once I decide what kind of display base I want to do for it. And find one that it'll fit on, because it's actually a surprisingly large model. Okay. Where's the floor? There it is. Because I think the seats snap in. This shuttle's actually going to be pretty big, so it'll be a good fun build. I just wanted to put one of these chairs in the hole so I can get it level with the floor, have the figure sit in it so I know this dries at the right angle. But if they pop in too securely... Okay, they don't. Excellent. Because I need to be able to rip them back out so I can paint them gloss black. This is mainly so I can get her arm resting properly. And make sure that that doesn't happen where I don't have it seated right. Whoop. Did I just hear a cat meow, or was that in the music? Okay, just stay in the seat. Okay. It's probably not going to be the final seat she's going to be in. And I may have to go watch the episode Galileo 7 again, just to get an idea who was sitting where. Does anyone else think it would have been neat if they had an 8th figure of Decker? The episode with the Doomsday Machine was one of my favorites. Managed to find a decent playlist today. Blackout's been put on hold for a little bit. I've been printing for almost 2 weeks straight, and I need a break from that. I also have to fix my FEP film, as I believe it developed a leak. Clean out the printer, see what parts I have printed, and then go back and reprint the ones I need. Because I think I got mixed up somewhere. Not that I have too many of any one part, but I need to basically refine and reformat what I'm doing. Might have right on my foot. There we go. Wow, the spam colors are on it today. Sunday stream, I don't know when that'll be. There's some yard work I've really got to take care of before spring hits in full force. Gotta cut back a peach tree and a Japanese snowball. Mainly the snowball, as I noticed, it was, it's got a trunk pushing up against part of our back porch roof. It's grown a lot in the past 11 years. I'm trying to remember if they scaled this correctly to the people, because I know the full-size set, they built it slightly under scale, the external model. The one that got restored and is on display in Texas. Or was. I think it's moved to the museum up in New York or New Jersey now. For the longest time, this was at Houston. Because somebody had actually found the original full-size prop rotting in an outside storage yard, recovered it and rebuilt it. Oops. I might finish up the rest of the crew figures themselves off stream because they're kind of repetitive if you thought these seats were bad. And I want to figure out who's doing what, so I need to get the interior built first. So it comes with a skylight for when you take the shuttle roof off, you can still see. But it also says to leave them loose. I'll figure that out in a minute. So I need these times 2. I'm just trying to figure something out. Okay. Yeah, I might have to watch a couple episodes with the shuttles in them before I start painting. Because I'm getting conflicting information now. Hold on. Sorry about that. The weather here has been going up and down more than Delta Airlines stock prices, so sinuses have been going nuts lately too. So I'm getting pictures, at least from the instructions here, that show this and these two things on these arms that go on the wall are like an interior green, like a seafoam green almost. Whereas I can't remember what color they were in the show. And usually Polar Lights is right on the money, but something doesn't seem familiar. So I just want to be sure before I go spraying paint willy-nilly. And it would be interesting to see what tolerances are going to be like between the walls here and the floor and the actual model of the shuttle. Maybe I could run some LED strip, run the whole thing off a 9-volt. Probably not, though. I've lit enough things recently, and Deep Space Nine has turned into a veritable headache. All the light blocking I still have to fix on it. That didn't go as I expected. Yeah, there's not a lot to the interior on this. There's more parts in the crew figures than there are in the interior parts. Yeah, I picked up the shuttle kit back in 23 when I was on my little trip to Washington. Part of the trip, the wife and I just started hitting up hobby shops all over the place. I'm gonna do a quick Google search. Sorry if this is slowing things down a bit, but I need to know because there are some things I'm gonna have to paint first. Like I can assemble the interior walls, but I need to know if I have to glue these on or leave these off. Same thing with this. Paint it separate. And I just want a good look at the panels, what they look like unlit. Things like that. Let me get some more music up. It comes with decals for the control panels, but I want to be sure that I can get it looking okay. I'm sure I just made things 10 times more confusing by trying to explain that. Okay. So the instructions say to paint the interior the same color as the exterior. They're wrong. So the walls up to this line are actually pale green, seafoam green. The floor is black, probably carpet. And then up here is like a gray color, more like the exterior color. I'm actually finding screen grabs from the show, which is actually helping quite a bit. The chairs are just black plastic, probably Bakelite of some sort. It's hard to tell now. I'm finding color-corrected shots. Unless the set was redressed between episodes. Which is extremely possible. I don't know, anyone else out there with Trek experience? It's okay, Aries. I knew you were at work. So, I'm gonna keep building. We'll work on the interior stuff, we'll work on building the... We'll put together everything that doesn't need paint. Yet. And then I'll have to go back and find the remastered episodes, because in some shots it looks like it's pale green or seafoam. Other shots it looks like it's gray. Yeah, there's another episode where Kirk's on there with some Commodore, and they're gray, so almost like I'm just gonna have to pick an episode and stick with it. Hey, Alex. Yeah, just trying to figure out an enigma. I'm still just gonna build sub-assemblies for now when I can... And then when I'm able to, I'll see if I can find... I'll probably just look on YouTube and look up the episodes in particular. And just see what color to paint the interior. I'm thinking it's gonna be more of a pale green, like this color. Okay, that just looks washed out on here. Almost seafoam. I want it to look mostly right. Not perfect, but there's certain things that are so ingrained that you just know something's not right if you look at it. So, YouTube changed the rules. You don't need 1,000 subscribers to monetize anymore. You only need 500. So, anyone watching this, please share it. You know, spread the word if you can. Let's get us past that 500 mark. While Twitch is serviceable, I think YouTube allows more. So probably still do it on both, but in the meantime. So we'll put this up here, leave these separate for now. Do I know where I am as far as YouTube? Yeah, I'm at 419. At least it should have been. Unless a bunch of people came on and just mass left. Okay, Alex. Yeah, 419. No worries, Aries. Okay, this is up. Okay. I only need to make 3 of them, but they give you 4. I'll be here for a little bit. Like I said, we're going to continue doing sub-assemblies. Get as much put together as we can. The engines for the ship. All that stuff. I'm not going to toss this just yet. But I'm jumping ahead too far, though. So we'll stick these over here for the time being. I only need 81 more subs, which really isn't an impossible goal for the short term. You know, it says 58, but yeah, the instructions are wrong. Okay. So 57 is 58 on the parts tree. So this one goes up here. It's got the little vent looking detail on it. Yeah. So you see that? It's got like a vent or like a speaker looking thing on it. So that goes up here. And then 58 on the instructions is actually 57 on the sprue. What did I just see? Something weird just happened. Is this stream still going for you guys? Oh no, that's just a March summary. Okay. Sorry, I just got an email about Restream and it was giving me stats and I'm like, usually doesn't do that until I stop stream. No worries, Alex. Yeah, I know that certain voices are making certain things difficult to enjoy these days. But we're not going to delve too deeply into that because a person's own actions speak more for them than words on this channel. How can I put it simply? I will tolerate damn near anyone as long as they're a good person, right? But when your political ideology begins to overshadow the rest of your life, that's when I begin to draw away. And that works for both sides, not just any one in particular. And sadly, I've had some people that, you know, as far as what you do when you're in your own home, whatever you want, but they begin shouting so loudly that you need to turn it off. And I've had to do that on a couple people in the past. I'm like, sorry, no. Okay. So they got me putting some glass pieces on. This one's going to stay off till last because that remains clear. These are just made clear so you could light them from behind. This is actually gray on the set piece, from what I could see. Or at least it looked gray. So I can install quite a few of these and get to painting. Let me go back to Google real quick, just to make sure. Because regardless of the color, it looks like this set may have been repainted quite a few times during the show's run. Regardless of the color, though, these pieces all get some form of painting on them. Yeah, and even some episodes, this lower part's beige. So... yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just learning a lot just looking through these pictures. Okay. So we're going to go with the pale green. This strip, the ceiling, this lower strip are beige, like a tester's dark tan almost. Exactly, Alex. It's difficult enough for me to watch everybody else around tear themselves apart over bullshit. I got other things I want to do with my life, you know? As much as I'd like to like this, I'd rather just build it, paint it, leave the roof loose, and just have a good display model. In a way, you could almost say old Star Trek taught me that. Original series and TNG especially. They didn't force you to pick a side. They showed you all the information that you required and allowed you as the audience to do your own thing with it. And maybe that's why I'm so against things that have become so polarized. Because they don't allow me the choice anymore. This definitely seems like I picked some better mixes today. So Sunday, I want to try and accommodate you guys more when I can. Like Alex was saying, that it's, you know, Denmark is 7 hours ahead. I want to accommodate that a bit better, so I really want to push, at least when it's possible, to start earlier on my days off. Until such a time that I can really establish a much more effective schedule. God knows when that'll be. which means I just got to push harder the day before to kind of get all my crap out of the way, right? So that way, time comes to stream, I can start more effectively early in the morning. But we shall see. Lately, I've been enjoying sleeping until 9 on my days off. Okay, so you fit up into here with a little lip. It was a toss-up between this and the Flatermouse today. This one, simply because the boxes have been sitting around a bit longer. The Hornies did get first place in a club contest last night, though. So I need to get throttles, or whatever those are supposed to be. There we go. And I wasn't even expecting to enter it. I brought it, contest happened, and I said, you know what? Let me just throw this on the table. Because I don't build for contests. Alright. Now I kind of regret gluing this in, but at the same time, none of the figures are exactly in a pose to really take advantage of it. They give you the electronics pit and the floor as a part. I'm going to glue it in case it acts like a spacer as well, but I'm not too worried about it. It's a model, not a diorama. Okay, so I think, like I said, the floor is black carpeting. It is. So I'll leave this separate from the floor for now. Okay. Get this off the sprue and cleaned up. And I may find a way to just pin the figures into the chairs using just a small piece of paper clip. That way, if I want to, I can remove them or rearrange them. So, another thing I've been tossing around is I kind of want to try and make that Leopard 1 A4 again. But there's a certain way I want to make it. So I'm not gluing these together, I'm just kind of temp assembling them. God, this is going to be a big shuttle. And it'll be 1/16 scale as well. This is really going to be a decent sized model. Okay, put these in a safe spot so they don't get glue on them. Is that the door? It is the door, but it looks like the door can be slid open. But we went from humid and raining to dry again, so all of my face skin is drying out and getting really itchy. So I'm trying my best not to just take everything off and scrub my face. Well, and it's not that I want to change my day schedule. One, getting started earlier, it would shift the streaming to earlier in the day, which would allow me more time in the day to stream if I really get involved on something. And it would open it up to more of the European audience who's just getting off of work, right? Because I've noticed I tend to have more European viewers than I do American viewers, it feels like. YouTube does help in the fact that they don't delete VODs. That's up to the streamer to do on YouTube. So I will have more long-term archive of what I build, but it's the live part that's more spontaneous. You can interact. Garbage. Who's up there? Frankie, is that you? That is Frank. Oh, here comes your sister. Come here, little monster. Come here. Oh, I got you. Oh. Yeah. Hi. You want to get on the table? Okay. We have our house tiger. And I appreciate the fact this company made the door slidable. Again, I don't play with my models, so I'm probably going to put it in there to fill up the gap it's supposed to fill. But I'll leave it open. because it goes here. So it should do that. Well, put it this way, it was snowing the other day. And then it rained last night. Now it's nice and sunny. But when I went to empty my trash can before the stream, it looked like the end of Ghostbusters outside. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, and last night it was snowing again when I came home from the Model Club meeting. Are you looking into the camera, girl? Huh? You being cheeky? Hey, Allie. Oh, there you go. Pretty girl. Oh, you smell what somebody's cooking upstairs. Yeah, I smell it too. I may have put that in the wrong spot. No, that's where it's supposed to go. Or is, oh, it's up too high. Hey, R2. No worries. See, R2's in the UK as well. Thanks for stopping by. I saw you were in there earlier. I figured you had your reasons to be lurking, so. Lurking's always welcome. How have you been? Come on, what am I not doing right here? All because I don't like to play with my models. There we go. But I probably won't start on the big fun models until after June. Got a lot of stuff going on late May, early June. I feel you there. And even when you have time, it's also a question of time versus energy, like brain power, you know? Does this just glue onto... Really? Actually, that'll kind of make some of the painting a little easier if I can at least glue that onto there. You know, glue half of the walls together. That is the worst. Give me a second, Allie. Because, and the hardest thing to do is, like... There's a lot of days I would have been on 2 to 3 hours earlier. Except it just feels like you're still trying to wake up, right? And then you wind up doom scrolling on YouTube or Facebook or, you know, the reels and the shorts. Because you're just trying to get that mental energy to do something. And then you wind up wasting a lot of the day. I've done it, you know, I'm speaking from some kind of experience here. Okay. And I don't think that helps the brain fatigue at all. Because the energy you could have been expending doing the model work or the figure painting or the drawing, you've now wasted. Original series, yeah. The original series. this will definitely be a fun model now. I'm getting into it. But the big projects I've got planned for after June are... I'm waiting to see what Round 2 is doing in terms of the refit re-release this year. I'm hoping that when they do that, it'll drive the cost of the Aztec panel decals back down. Because I need to buy another set of Aztec decals and scavenge as many of them as possible for the Reliant. So the saucer, the engines, at least. And then once I get those on, I've got to kind of match the very subtle tones they make for the paneling and fill in what I can't do with the decals. But those decals will do at least 80% of the model. Because Reliant is going to be on the table, and the Czechoslovakian Alien Hind. This is the back wall. Which side is which on this? Figured as much. Of course, the side with the ejector pin marks are the sides. I'll test fit the bottles and make sure they cover them. If not, then I'll sand them off. Probably not. If it was just the shuttle, I'd have had room inside to really run some lights. With the interior, they say it's made for lighting. I'm trying to figure out how I would even plumb the wiring through the thing. Whoever just tipped that, thank you very much. I have a feeling it was Alex. Every little helps. And I do appreciate it. I didn't hear any of that. Wait a minute. That's your control. That's because I've got my own media too loud. Darn it. But that will be put to good use. Because, yeah, once June hits, I want to start building on Reliant in earnest. I've had it for 2 years now. I've got most of the difficult stuff kind of plotted out. Since it's fiberglass, I'm going to be using the fiberglass itself as the lighting medium and go from there. No worries. I do appreciate it. Every time somebody gives a little, it helps things out here, so. And if things work out as I hope they do in the future, in the next 2 to 3 years, this could become a full-time thing. No, this is 32nd. I did have a third option today for something I wanted to work on. Because I've got this, the Fledermaus, and I've also got the Spa Panzer Fennec. I just didn't feel like painting Flecktarn camouflage in 35th scale today. Sorry, I was lazy. But the Fennec will have a crew and 2 KSK members to go with it, with their field equipment and G36s and stuff like that. I might have to see if I can find some of the Trumpeter MP7s in 35th scale for the Fennec crew, though. Okay, let me pick some more music. But between now and June, I want to get this done. The Defiant, I'm going to have to order decals for. The ones that came with it are usable in the fact that they'll work. Oh yeah, Allie is awesome. But they're too yellowed, because the Defiant kit that I'm making is from the 90s. And Ertl glue for the glue they use on the decals is just blech. So it turned really yellow, like tobacco stain yellow. Because I'm almost done painting the Defiant. But Allie here, because I know you lurk from time to time, R2, but you probably don't know the little backstory on her. I was leaving my old job one year during, I want to say it was early March, late February. This is back in 23, and noticed some people clustered around a snowbank in a parking lot. One moment. Thank you for that. I'll put that in my bookmarks so that way it'll help me search for them later. Excellent. Thanks for that. So I see some city workers all gathered around a snow berm in a parking lot. I pull up and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, well, look, there's this little one and her brother abandoned in a box in the snow, and the guys almost plowed them over with like full-size street plows. So I brought her home, got her brother adopted out, but nobody wanted her, so we decided to keep her. She's my little monster now. Yeah. Yes, you are. And I could have sworn I had 3 of these here just a second ago. You're not sitting on one, are you? No? Yeah, 4 of my cats are ones I found. 2 of them were completely feral. Alright, let's put these together and then I'll figure out what the heck I did with that last half. I've got an extra one, I just didn't think I'd lose a piece. Oh wait, I glued it together already. Duh. But it kind of worked out because the wife always wanted a lady cat that was friendly and tiny. She stayed tiny, and she's a daddy's girl now. And ever since I got her, she's always been like this. She's just come up and hung out. She loves being on the desk when there's room. She knows that if there's sprues and everything all over the place, she doesn't come up. And she used to be a lot more, like, in your face. She always wanted to be right in the middle. Hey, Kenneth. But, yep, that's how we got her. So she's a little rescue. And she's got this really funny resting bitch face, too. Even when she's happy, it looks like she wants to rip the soul out of the world and eat it. Not exactly grumpy cat, but we've been looking at her size and just her proportions. It's possible she's got dwarfism. Just a very mild form of feline dwarfism. And you wouldn't be able to see it on camera. We didn't realize it till, after we'd had her for a little bit, she may have been abused. The very tip of her tail's broken. It's actually healed oddly. And her legs are a bit off in the back. But yeah, she's a good girl, though. And that was before we got her. She may have been a bait kitten. Hi. What? But she's happy now and has plenty of lasers to play with and her brother to chase around when she wants to. So she is not at all hurting for anything now. Okay. Get this off here. Oh yeah. And she even took to... Hey, no nibbles! Don't you dare. Hey. She's trying to nibble on my arm. Hey. You can probably see her just barely trying to. I'm just dry fitting this to see if I have to go through the effort of removing those ejector pin marks or no. Hey. What is it with you and the nibbling? You've always done that. You've never outgrown it. Okay. Yeah, I don't have to remove them. Alright. Yeah, but she's either right here on the streams half the time, or Frankie will be sitting right here staring at me, or Arnie. You want some itches, huh? Yeah, scritches. Let me... There we go. If you get the right cat, they can be good partners, but if you get the wrong one, you're in for 14 to 20 years of absolute terror. Okay. So can I glue this together? Maybe. No, you can't get in the box, girl. Oh, careful. You're going to push it off. Yeah, let's put this back on here. Yeah, this sucker's going to be bigger than I thought. I'd always seen the old Ertl kit, which... It was like if you took cardboard boxes and made them into a Galileo shuttle, it was kind of looking like it. But we're talking the 70s one, and that hasn't been reissued in a very long time. It was so bad they actually scrapped it, I think, and retooled this new one. There we go. Just get that to stay there, I think we'll be alright. Unfortunately, the interior kit, if you buy it separately, just has the instructions for the full assembly of the shuttle. It used to be this kit was just this part, just the shuttle, with no interior, and then they reverse engineered one to fit into it. Okay, all the doors will be openable. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how all this is going to work. Because they have the bottom made so you can swing it open. How do the top ones open in the series? Did they just slide in? If they did, I might... yeah, let's get the interior, or the exterior going now. I gotta figure this out. Because if they lift space, I'll cut them and glue them in the open position. And I could be reversing on my lighting idea, depending on how much space we discover. Because if there's like oodles of room along this here and the side of the hull, then I've got room to run some wire, and I've got plenty of LED strip. Because I just need to put an LED in each engine, some in the back for the exterior, and then just enough strip under the control panel, which I may have to light box if I do that. Yeah, I'd have to light box. But I don't remember the control panel being very well lit up anyway. So I might not even worry about that. I'm not worried about the blinkies. Oh. You may have just inadvertently talked me into lighting this thing. At least the exterior. Okay. Alright, that's it for the interior. This I can toss. This is the roof that they say to leave loose so you can show it off. I've found them easy to do. I built the entire substrate, or the entire lighting kit for the refit. If you can buy the strip, it has little positives and negatives on it, and it comes the resistors are pre-installed, right? If you buy the individual LEDs and you plan on running them on anything higher than 5 volts, you need to wire in resistors on the positive side. Or is it the negative? I forget. Damn it. But you need to wire in resistors to get them to work properly. But once you figure out the soldering and making sure that you're either... I always like to wire in parallel when possible, because if you wire in series, if one burns out, the rest burn out. So like Christmas lights. In parallel means if one goes out, it doesn't take the rest with them. Sorry, losing track of myself here for a sec. And I started with something simple. I did a illuminated bird of prey, kind of like what Solway's working on. Okay, is that upside down? I think that's upside down. That is upside down. Okay. I kept mine a lot simpler. He did his landed. And the thing about LEDs is, if you get the intensity right and you get your interior painted right, you don't need to put, like some people think, oh, you got to put an LED at each window for the lights. You don't. On the refit, none of the lights, except for the ones that are illuminating the hull, are direct light, like none of the windows. Oh, like a model car? Pretty easy. I was actually thinking of doing that on a 16th scale Firebird, because it's got the pop-up lights, and I wanted to put the headlights in and the tail lights just like all the lights are on, and the running lights as well. Nothing like a flasher circuit or anything for blinkers, but just enough to bring it to life. I'd have to see if the gauges have clear faces or not. Light those up red as well. Pontiacs loved red. But yeah, as long as you're careful, it's pretty easy. For something like a car, wiring them in series would probably be best. See, extra instructions. I don't think these have anything about the decals on them, so I'm just going to toss them since they're the same thing as in here. I'm just making sure I'm not going to be throwing out something important. If you can find a way to make an access hatch for something like a 9-volt battery, then you can do that. Maybe if it's a curbside kit, i.e. kit with no engine, and the hood's loose, you could kind of make that your battery compartment. Or if you could find a way to scribe the hood loose and make it held on by magnets. I've seen some people put small rechargeable batteries in the trunk and just leave the plug somewhere that they can plug it in to recharge it. And just a few LEDs will run forever off of something like a AA or AAA battery. Why did I open this in the middle? Because I'm an idiot. Or other companies like Round 2 for the original series Enterprise, and for the Katinga, the motion picture Klingon ship, they actually released dedicated lighting kits. For the Enterprise, it's powered by what we call a wall wart, or an external power supply. And for the Klingon ships, it's a 4-cell AA battery pack that you put underneath the impulse engines. So, like, I'd have to see where the room falls on this if I do light it. But, is that the roof, or is that that's the belly? Okay. So let's see how much we're really dealing with here, space-wise. So, like, where this ends, you've still got all this room back here that's going to be where the engines are and everything for the light for the engine. So you got this whole assembly that's going to go even further past that. This would make an excellent battery compartment if you could find a way to magnetize it, which that's not hard either. You guys may have just tricked me into lighting this. Darn it. Oh, darn. Alright, let's build some sub-assemblies first, though. Okay. At least externally light it. Because I'm torn. If I light it, right? I could internally light it too, because we'll get a good rough estimate here of how far above the roof this is. Yeah, I wouldn't really be able to do the interior very well. I might, because I got some pretty thin LED strip. If I were to surround this sunroof with the LED strip, right? Yeah, do you see the light? Because this is not your roof line on the shuttle. This is your roof line, right here. So I'd have that much space above the false interior roof and the kit roof to install some LED strip. Which I could do. I wouldn't want to light the control panels because there's no real way for me to effectively block this off, right? And putting the LED strip right on the back of it, and the set pictures I can find, it doesn't light up a lot, so it wouldn't be worth it. But adding a strip of like 4 LEDs, adding a strip of 4 LEDs here and here, pointing upward, so they bounce off the interior ceiling of the shuttle. So they bounce off. This is how I lit the travel pod too. So basically they bounce off this plate. And the white reflecting would illuminate the inside. That's basically how I lit all the other models. It's more the white paint inside reflecting and causing everything else to light up properly. But you'd be able to look in through the door and see everything well. It just means I'd be gluing the roof on, and we'd never see it from above. You'd only be able to see it through the door and the front windscreen. That almost seems worth it, to be honest. So you're looking at LED strip, LED strip. I'd have to put a strip in the back for the main engine. How big is that? And I think it just lit up blue as well. So that would be for this. And then 2 individual LEDs for the warp engines. Oh, there's Mittens. Because they only need the light right in the front. Damn it, Bobby. First Contact was alright. I don't know. Given how the original series movies felt compared to the original series, right? I wish they would have done something to really visually distinguish the Next Generation movies from the Next Generation TV show. Because all the movies, no matter how well done they were, and to be honest and to be fair, First Contact was the only one that felt like a movie, where all the rest felt like just big TV episodes. It almost feels like First Contact was the only decent one, and it still had a made-for-TV quality about it. Because, yeah, there's something about almost every series when it makes the jump from small screen to big screen. There's something about the quality of it that just feels right, feels better. Where others don't. Like Stargate. Excellent film. I'm going to say something wildly unpopular here. I didn't like SG-1. But then again, I also saw it on Skinamax years before it came out as a TV series. It was originally meant to be a rated R TV series, a mini-series, like a 4 or 5 episode mini-series on a pay TV station called Cinemax here in the States. It was probably aired in other places too. But just that little bit gained enough traction for it to become this huge beast of a TV series. Okay, what is going off here? Okay, that's where that glues in. Okay, I see what's going on. So they have me trying to glue this shit onto here first. It looks like there's something that gets inserted in here that I might want to do first. So yeah, let's work on some other sub-assemblies and get things to the point where we have to stop while I figure out what the hell I'm going to do to light it. And I still couldn't get over how clunky SG-1 felt as a TV series as well. Watch, I probably just lost about 20 subscribers, both on YouTube and Twitch from that, but that's okay. Look at Firefly. The reason they were using four-wheelers on that show is because the budget was so low. As soon as it became a movie, they actually had the budget for the floating mule, the hovercraft, and they used it. You know, Serenity didn't feel like a made-for-TV film. It felt like a movie. Frankie, you don't want chair cat? Come here, Frank. And unfortunately, Star Trek didn't make that jump when it came to the Next Generation. It still felt like the TV series. And it might be because there wasn't enough time. And what I mean by that is look at the time between the last airing of Star Trek's original series and the production of the motion picture. Everybody aged. They still looked the same enough, but you had this feeling time passed. But also the TV production and the film production were two completely different things. And to give the Next Generation credit where it is due, the TV effects had almost caught up with film effects at the time. So to the point where it came to doing a Next Generation film, it didn't feel like such a strong leap. There was no real, why do I have to see this on the big screen, right? Well, because they had. I think the only one of them that really aged gracefully was Nichelle Nichols. Like, whenever you saw her on screen, you didn't think, oh, she got bigger. You thought, hey, there's Uhura, you know, there's Nichelle Nichols. But the rest of them, they got older, unfortunately. It happens, you know. I mean, look at Ghostbusters. Whoa. I like seeing those guys on screen one last time, but good lord, were they rough looking. And aside from the crappy writing these days, like with all the Star Wars series coming out, right? I mean, yeah, we're getting flubs like Blue Jeans Man and stuff like that in Mandalorian, and you know the support pillars still being visible that didn't get digitally removed in Book of Boba Fett. But aesthetically, what reason would somebody have these days to go watch a Star Wars film in a theater when visually there's really no reason to? There's not enough spectacle difference. Almost like when an anime series does a movie. It's just a rehash of what we've already seen. And we talked about this before. On all the different streaming services, they wonder why people going to theaters is going away. Why should people go to theaters? What is the reason to go to theaters? You want to keep people in the theater seats. Stop releasing the movie simultaneously on streaming and theaters. Give people a reason to go back to the theater. I think it's funny. They tooled this kit so you could have this door open, yet they didn't have an interior for it. I'm trying to remember, how did that top door open? I know this just lowered down on a cable. You could actually kind of see it, but I could have sworn the upper part just slid into the hull. That is a really nice picture of that. Sorry, I'm just trying to answer some questions still. Yeah, it looks like they just slid inside, which I'm okay with. It means I might not have to worry about building them. There's that. There it is. No, you are absolutely right. Listening to Axl Rose trying to sing, what fucking song was that? Listening to Axl Rose trying to sing, and he wound up sounding like Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy. You know? There's some guys out there who can still belt him out, I'll give him that. But like right now, Ozzy Osbourne doesn't need a return tour of anything. He just needs to bask in what he's done. You know? Yeah, this ain't retaining shit. And I heard they're even trying to get Ozzy to do one last tour. It's like the guy can't even walk down the street consistently right now, if you've seen the latest videos of him. And you're right, it's just something about bowing out gracefully. Like Jack Black, unless his next role is him playing Santa Claus, he's not going to have much more roles open to him, aside from the weird bearded uncle. Like, what was one of the last movies even, like, say, Charlton Heston, right? He had almost disappeared in the late 80s. And then, I want to say it was 1991, he did that Treasure Island with Christian Bale for TNT. Great movie. Aries found me a digital version of it. And after that, he had kind of a resurgence, even though he was, what, in his late 70s by then? So he did that. He had a bit part in a Schwarzenegger film. He was in Eraser. And then he was in, I think it was 99 or 2000. He was in the Planet of the Apes remake that Tim Burton did as an ape, but just for a bit part. And then after that, he passed away. But it just feels like a lot of the older actors are just doing it to just get that last nostalgia check in. Like they're wanting William Shatner to come back and play Kirk one more time. No, Kirk's passed. Anyone else trying to play him right now is, I don't know, it's like using artificial sweetener over sugar. They work, but they don't work that great. Even Pine in the 2009 film, he almost had it, and I think if any other director besides JJ had handled the films, he could have done it, like, really, really well. But the films are just too hectic to really embrace him as more than a placeholder. And you can tell he was trying, but just JJ's pacing wouldn't allow it to sit still long enough. Okay. So this goes like that. There's pieces I need to get in here first. Okay, these are those. So right now I'm just trying to put sub-assemblies together to figure out if and where I'll put wiring for lighting. But I'm even just getting sick of them pulling up, titles and remaking them. Like what was it that dropped yesterday? The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson? No. Just no. These go like that. Every time they've tried to reboot an 80s franchise with Liam Neeson as the lead character, it did not do well. And yes, I know Police Squad was before the 80s, but Naked Gun was 80s and 90s. Because part of Leslie Nielsen's thing, right, is he was kind of like Lloyd Bridges in a way. Leslie Nielsen came up playing straight characters when he was acting. Forbidden Planet, watch that. It's one of his earlier roles. And you'll see what I mean. And part of what made him so funny is he was able to do that straight line delivery, not look at me, I'm being funny, just look at me, I'm being serious. And meanwhile, everything else is going to hell around him. Airplane was another example of that. It's also what made Ghostbusters work. It was the original from '84. And even Afterlife. It was played straight. Straight as an arrow. And the comedy came from it. And all this is stemming, I think, from that little bit Liam Neeson did in Ted, where he bought the Trix cereal. And he was playing his Taken character, buying the cereal. And somebody thought that was a good idea, to do it as, you know, that's why he's playing the Naked Gun now. That's if he's replacing Drebin, which it's the only thing I can think of is why he's in it, is because he's going to be, you know, lead character. But yeah, Pine, all the actors, especially Pine and Quinto and Urban, they nailed the characters they were playing as caricatures. You know? In that they were able to mimic what the original actors had done to make those characters work. But we weren't given enough time with them in those roles. And trust me, 3 movies is not enough time. Look at the amount of screen time each one of them actually has, as opposed to everything else that's going on. It's a very small amount of time. They weren't able to. They fit the clothes, but they weren't able to get used to them. How's that? They found somebody who fit the clothes, but they weren't able to wear into them. That's about the best way I could describe it. So you got people who are doing good impressions of them, but they still hadn't found that character just yet. Kind of like how when Tuvok first came out, or came up in Voyager. Alright, later, R2. Yep. Sleep well. When Tuvok started in Voyager, everybody thought, oh, he's just doing his own impression of Leonard Nimoy as Spock. At first he was. Tim Russ. But then as the series went on, you could see that Tim Russ had grown into Tuvok and wasn't doing an impression anymore. He was actually, he'd found something in the character to make. Okay, I think I found my battery compartment. Where's my 9 volt? Give me 1 second. I just realized I haven't been taking my usual breaks. So no, I haven't found my battery compartment. I'm looking for something I could make magnetic that I could leave removable. And that would be accessible from the outside, because this goes inside. Because I could have left this off and then magnetized the hatch that goes over it from the outside. And I don't want an external wire that I just plug this into. I mean, it would be easy to do that, just drill a hole through the floor and have this hiding under it, since the damn thing lands on its engines. Just hide it under it. I don't know, what do y'all think? Go the easy route, drill a hole, or go the hard route and figure out how to magnetize an entire panel of the ship? I don't even know if this would be removable after it's assembled, because this fits onto here like that. But I think the whole thing gets trapped inside these panels. Yeah. So I wouldn't be able to make the back hull removable, because that goes like that. Let me look at the shuttle itself. The main thing is I don't have any rechargeable batteries that small. Actually, I do. That'd be 7.2 volt. I could use one of my spare RC tank batteries and just leave the lithium-ion port right here. Because there's going to be enough room in here. Okay. Crazy idea. And the batteries don't go bad very frequently. I got some that are borderline 10 years old that still work. So it'll be a 7.2 volt battery. I just need to make sure it can fit right here. That. Okay. I know I'm doing a lot of thinking out loud. I'm very sorry. Okay. I need to see how much space there's going to be right here. Because then I can just take one of the extra plugs that I've got and wire it in for this. Because there's enough room to run an LED up to here for these lights. At least I think they're lights. They're either lights or vents. Can't remember which. They're grills, so I wouldn't even have to run anything that far up front. Okay, I think we're onto something here, guys. Give me 1 second to go get a battery pack. I didn't realize I've been on pause that long. I'm very sorry. Battery won't fit. So I'm going to go to the RC store and see about finding one that will. Also, the female crew figure is not Uhura. Even though they gave her Uhura's hair, if you watch the episode The Galileo 7, it's actually a different crew member. I'm definitely going to have to do some offline research on this thing before I really go into lighting it. A lot of things I'm showing show that these holes here are supposed to be vents, but they've made them lights. So I don't know. And I don't have enough... I don't have Paramount Plus, so I can't go watch the original series. I have to look it up on YouTube. Sorry, just looking up information. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go straight to the source. Why'd you do that? I can't remember the season. You just have to look up the Galileo 7. I think the footage, some of the footage from that was reused in the Doomsday Machine for when Decker killed himself. But the other difficulty that I'd be having is the I'd almost say I need to see original series episodes from the 60s, not the remasters. Because the HD remasters reproduced everything for the effects digitally. You have the original ones. Yeah, I just need clips from the show to look at. Because just like everything else, what's one of the things I almost always say? Don't base your model off of somebody else's model. Because I'm seeing a lot of people building the model with either vents or lights. I just want to see it in action on screen. Then I'll be able to know, hey, they're light, or they're lights or they're vents. everything I'm seeing shows vents as far as like the set photos I can find. Because if they're vents, then I don't have to worry about running lights on the interior at all, except for the ceiling and the back. But if they're lights, then I gotta do something. And I have to see if they included the optional part. I could have sworn they had at one point. No worries, no rush. I'm not going to be putting the top and bottom halves together anytime soon. I just need to know before I go to install anything. But I do need to glue this in place before I do anything else, because that helps to pinch the hull sides together and get them aligned right. And it doesn't even have to be tonight. It can be just any time this weekend when you've got time. Come on. I hate it when I go on these little journeys like this and wind up having to find more and more information out. And if you think that's bad, don't even ask on an open forum what color the Enterprise is from the original series. Because while it has been confirmed what color it is, you know, because they know, they found the paint, they know the paint color. There are people that have been like, "Oh, I've done spectral analysis of paint chips," and it's like, dude, I just need something close. And they're out there. Oh my god, I tried searching for that just to find out what color this thing was. And the closest answer I got, the best answer I got, was light ghost gray. Works for me. I'm going to paint it that. But there's people given like Photoshop grade, color, temperature, RGB analysis numbers, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't need to know the millisecond it was made, just what's close enough. Excuse me. And maybe this could inspire you to get your original series Enterprise out and start working on that. No, that wouldn't happen, would it? Wow, that was a quick answer. You didn't have to answer that fast. You didn't have to be so rude about it. This will be wasted. Alright, now with this kind of in place, I can take these and get them in place. So when it comes time to glue the roof on, or not the roof, the sidewalls, I can. That's part of their alignment right there. And it's also part of the alignment of this panel. Really? I think the model's trying to tell me to take a break too. Come on. There we go. The glue is grabbing. But even though I've been sitting on this model for 2 years, I'd never seen one in the flesh built. I didn't think it would be this large. This is a really decent sized model. And I swear if Ares comes back with a giggity, I'm stopping stream early. All I saw was the text move, and I'm like, hmm? Hmm? He's like the kid in the meme with the veins on his forehead all just... I'm probably assembling this slightly out of sequence, but... yeah, probably Monday, maybe tomorrow afternoon. I'll have to see how traffic is, too, when I get off work. A lot of fucking construction around here. Like, come Monday, I might have to drive 5 miles out of my way to get to work. Because they're closing down... 6,000 is closed down. The next one over, I think, like 54 or something, or no. Yeah, it changes sequence. But 1800 has got construction, and the one between me and that is going to have construction to the point where I can't get to work. Like, I'll have to drive past work to get to work. Because they're deciding to close down 3 streets all at the same time. There'll probably be some minor plastic shimming right here and right here for light blocking. The interior. And the walls aren't even glued down to the floor. That's how tight the fit is. This wall and this wall are glued to this wall. That's it. To do something about that. I don't like how this is supposed to fit together there. We might be trimming off some kid pins because they don't want to fit. Look at that. It's gone. So I just wanted to dry fit this in to see what I'm looking at in terms of clearance for LEDs. Not a whole hell of a lot. that gap that you saw is about all the room I've got, which fortunately is about the width of the LED strings. So if I stand them on edge, maybe slightly bevel them, you know, so they're like that, shining that way and that way, or I really don't want to lay them down because they'd be shining directly up. It would still work, but then I'd have a row of hot spots here that I'd need to put extra paint on inside and out. That can cause other troubles. I'll try them on their side first. Maybe trim the edge of the tape material, making sure I don't cut the electrode. That way they'll be shining this way and that way across, but lighting up the white paint on the ceiling. So can't glue those on yet. Not until I get the interior assembled and fully assembled and painted and then ready to drop in. Because once I get that far, I'll know if these are vents or lights by then. If they're vents, cool. If they're lights, that'll be a fight. And then I gotta figure out how I'm gonna wire or route. Oh, they leave me openings. Cool. Right there and right there too. Alright, so no, it's no question of how I'm gonna route wires in this. They actually left me grooves to put wire in, so I don't have to fish it through like the Reliant and pray there's enough room. So, and then with that, it is simply a matter of figuring out what color the nacelles are. I believe they were actually green on the shuttle. And once the nacelles are figured out, I can start stringing stuff. For the back engine, it'll be really simple, especially for the diffusion, since I'll be flat coating the clear piece after I paint this. I'll just put the LED string on this back wall right here and point it straight out the back. So really I'm going to need LED strip here, and even though this is pretty long, I don't know if I should do a strip of 6 right here and right here, because they're pretty bright. They are really bright. But on 7 volts, probably not too bright. We'll have to frost the glass. Door will be open. You'll actually be able to see quite well through there in the front windows. So yeah, plan on probably a strip of 12, 6, 6, and then 2 separate LEDs for the engines. On a small 7.2 volt rechargeable pack. I think that can be done. That goes down here. What do you think? And it's nothing new to me, and it's essentially the same way I lit the travel pod, basically by gluing the LEDs facing outward, and then they bounce back in. And that's how I did the interior lights. Unfortunately, I used a crappier LED string, and I'm gonna have to find some way of carefully popping the pod back open. If I want to replace it. The lights are still working, but you can tell some of the LEDs in the strands have gone bad. It's not the same type I've used on the refit, though. It's a different type, the kind with that really thick rubbery coating on them. And I find that they tend to burn out quicker because they can't cool. The rubber kind of overheats them. Yeah. Once I get the information, I'll start slinging paint on the interior. And then start slinging LEDs. Alright. But I think we're going to call it a stream. It's been almost 3 hours. We're as far as we can get. And I'm getting hungry. So, thanks for watching. Thanks again to Alex for the donation. We didn't get any resubs this time. Alright. Should see you all Sunday. Hopefully by Sunday we'll have some more information and we'll be getting to something on this. This is a good, relatively quick project since it's all basic colors, no extreme highlights or shadows or anything. Off stream I'll get the crew assembled and get them ready for paint. And